Hello and welcome to another feature demonstration. This one is for version 4 of RackForms. So it's a really exciting time for us right now. We just released our brand new cloud-based hosted solution. So in other words, you no longer need a server to run RackForms. You can simply subscribe to the RackForms form hosted service and get all the power of RackForms without having to worry about managing a server. As part of that new release, though, we wanted to give RackForms a slight coat of paint, if you will, and make sure that it's as easy as it can possibly be to use without sacrificing any of the power. And that has come then in the form of many changes, some small and some big, and I'd like to take a look at each in this video. So an example of a small change is the brand new icons here in the form page header. So these guys used to be just simple icons, which, while effective, were probably a little bit harder than they needed to be to understand their functionality. Now, of course, they're much easier, and in the case of publish form, it's pretty simple to say, if I click this button, what's going to happen. Some of the changes are much bigger. An example of that one then is the brand new RackForms form wizard. So if I click this little concierge icon right here, we now get two different options for building forms in RackForms. The first is we can start from scratch. And what this basically does now is allows us to go through and, using a wizard format here, select how many pages, delivery types, and so on, that when we're done, we'll just build that form skeleton for us. And it makes it much, much faster now to get in there and quickly prototype out a form as opposed to building it out using the simple buttons. If we want an even faster method of building forms, we could just use a template. So in this particular case here now, I can select from different categories of forms, and when I click one of these, we're simply going to populate the editor with that particular form job. Just to prove, though, however, that RackForms hasn't lost any of its legendary power and flexibility, I'm also pleased to announce that in RackForms version 4, we've added support for MongoDB. So MongoDB, it's technical by the way, but MongoDB is what's known as a NoSQL solution. What's really neat about MongoDB is that instead of writing queries to save data, we essentially send raw data, in this case in the form of what we call PHP arrays. What it means for RackForms users is we can now use the query module here to write to MongoDB tables and collections. So if I publish this form here, you can see that we have a lot of data that we're simply now writing to this MongoDB collection. So that's just one example, of course, of how we're making sure that even though we're making RackForms more simple to use, we're never going to abandon our hardcore users and the features that you guys need to build the professional jobs that you come to expect out of RackForms. So that is a quick look at RackForms version 4. Of course, there's lots I didn't cover. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to email at info@rackforms.com, or you can actually find my direct cell phone number at the top of the website. And of course, if you have any features or suggestions, we always love to hear them. So thanks again for taking the time to check out RackForms. If you have any questions, again, always here and happy to help.